Hello everybody and welcome to Bird's Nest Designs. Today I'm here to show you this whiskey business card that we made in my In Color Club for the month of September. The feature color of the month was Cinnamon Cider, so it's the base of the card and also the color of the whiskey here. So this card is pretty straightforward, but I'm going to give you guys a quick little tutorial on some of the lovely features of this stamp set. So I've got the kit here, and for those of you in my color club following along, your kit will be included in with your color products. So we've got the Cinnamon Cider card base. We're going to just fold that on the score mark that I've put in there. Okay, and we're going to burnish it with our bone folder. Okay, that gives it the nice crisp, clean edge that helps the card to stand up properly as well. Oh, before we do that, so in your color kit, you're going to have a large 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece of Whisper White, which is going to be the inside of our card. You've got a larger piece of Bumblebee cardstock, so that was the first in color that we did in the club for June. You're going to have a piece of the Plaid Designer Series paper. This one is going to be slightly different for everybody. I just used a variety of the pages from the pack, and they are double-sided, so you can feel free to flip it over and use whatever side appeals to you the most. You've got a small rectangle of Whisper White, which we're going to stamp the canteen on here. And you've got another scrap piece of white with the corner nicked off. That's going to be to stamp our 2 glasses here. Okay? And we've also, of course, got the smoky slate to stamp the salutation. Okay, so to get things started, I'm just going to, adhere the inside piece to the card so that I don't end up getting it all messy while I'm creating here. Okay, so I've just centered that in the middle of the card. And I'm just going to set that aside up here. And then using the Memento ink pad, because we are going to use our Stampin' Blends to color the images, this is the ink that we use with those so that it doesn't bleed. Okay. And from the Whiskey Business stamp set, you can see there's lots of great salutations that are very suiting. Tonight we're going to use Sending You an Old-Fashioned Birthday Card. So I've got that already here on the block, and we're just going to stamp it in the center of the smoky slate piece. Okay, just like that. Then we can just set that off to the side for now. And I'm going to bring in the rectangle without the nicked edge, and we're going to stamp the canteen on there. All right, look at all the detail in that image. It's just beautiful. Okay, so I'm just going to set that aside. You can notice I stamped it off more to the left, centered this way, but to the left, just because of the way this, I've situated this glass on top. So I'm just going to set that aside for now. And then using the piece with the nicked corner, we're going to stamp 2 of the drink glasses. Just love the detail in this stamp set. All right, so that's all of our stamping for this card. Now what I want to do is I'm going to come in with the Cinnamon Cider Stampin' Blends, and I'm just going to color the whiskey here in the decanter. Okay, and I'm going to start with the light. And then I'm going to come in with the dark once I'm done this, and I'm going to shadow and shade to to give it some dimension. And I'm barely touching the paper with these markers. They're very, very smooth and easy to use, so you don't need to put any pressure on them at all, as long as the tip is touching the paper. Same with the glasses here. Now, of course, you could color this any color you wanted, and make it any kind of liquid. Okay. Then I'm going to come in with the dark, like I said. And for anybody who isn't familiar with the Stampin' Blends, there are two ends. So there's a paintbrush end, and then there's more of a fine marker tip. I prefer the paint end, so that's the one you'll see me using the most, but use whichever one's comfortable for you. I'm just going to come in with the dark and just sort of highlight over top of the lines that are already there for the stamp. Okay. And there's no, science to this. It doesn't have to be perfect or exact. It's just sort of to give it a little bit of pop and really make those images just kind of come to life. So if I bring that up closer to the camera, you can see how that's just shaded, added some shadows and some dimension into that image. I'm going to do the same on the glasses here. There's one. Here's two. I'm just going to do this really quickly. Okay. Now if you want to, you can always come back in with your lighter marker and go over top of your highlights. Just pull that dark color in, and that'll just give it a little bit more shading. And I'm going to leave, I'm not going to pull it in over top of the ice cubes, just to make them a little bit lighter than the rest of the cup. So I don't know if you can see that here. Just like that. Okay, for this one, I'm just gonna leave it. I like the way it looks without doing the second blend over top. Okay, now if you look in this finished card here, you can see there's some highlighting on the glass portions, and I did that with some light smoky slate. So using, again, the Stampin' Blends, and I'm gonna use the paintbrush end. I'm just gonna come over the edges of the glass just to highlight and again bring a little pop. Okay, so it doesn't have to be anything fancy or anything too detailed, just a little bit does a lot. The other color that looks really nice when you're using glass or a clear is Pool Party. It gives it a nice reflective look as well. In some of these spots where there's a lot of lines, I'm just gonna, like you just saw me do, I'm just gonna color them in solid with this to give it a lot of shading. Okay, so like I said, nothing fancy, it's really simple and quick, but it does give it a bit of a pop and add some dimension to that image. Okay, so now we do need to fussy cut our glasses. There is no die for this stamp set, but they're really easy to cut out. And for those of you who haven't heard my tip before, if you turn the paper and not your scissors, it makes fussy cutting a lot easier. Oops, a little bit too much of a border there. Okay, there's one. Two. All right, so now I'm set those off to the side a bit. I'm going to bring back in the card front, or the card itself. We're going to work on the front. So I'm going to take our piece of bumblebee here, and I'm just going to situate that centered this way and this way. And then we're going to come in with the plaid paper, and again you can use whichever side you like. So I'm just going to kind of put these up. I think I'm going to go with this side. I like the purple in there. Beautiful colors for the fall right now. This one to me looks a little bit more like a nice Christmas pattern. Okay, so this one just goes from edge to edge, and I just made sure there was a relatively even border of yellow on each side. All right, so I'm just going to situate this, not adhering it yet, where I want it on the base of the card. Just so that I can get my positioning for the decanter here. Okay, so right about there looks good. I can maybe move that down a bit. That. Okay, and then I'm just going to straight adhere this on using my Stampin' Seal. Okay, like that. Now I'm going to bring in my bumpets, or dimensionals as they're technically called, and I'm going to adhere the salutation along the bottom. I'm just going to use 3 dimensionals there. What's nice about this plaid paper is there are lines on it, so you can line this up with the lines on the paper to make sure it's nice and straight. Okay, now the glasses here, I'm just going to put 2 dimensionals on each one. And the one we're going to situate just sort of off to the side here. And the last one, I'm going to kind of put that one here. Like so. Okay, so the final step to add some bling to this card, because all of the cards need some bling in my opinion, we are going to use the lovely gilded gems. These are fabulous. I love them. They're really pretty sparkly gold, if you guys can see them. And they come in a variety of different sizes. So I'm just going to pop those on here. I'm going to put one of the larger ones down here. Another larger one kind of up here, medium-sized one down here, and one of the smallest ones up there as well. All right, so there we have it. There's our Whiskey Business Cinnamon Cider in Color Club card. Super easy to create, perfect to hand out to anybody on their birthday. So thank you so much for popping in today. If you'd like to place an order, if you live in Canada, you can visit my blog at createwithbirdsnest.ca, or you can visit me on Facebook at Bird's Nest Designs. I'd love to hear from you. You can leave a comment below this video as well. And thank you so much for popping in. I hope to see you back here soon.